Hello, GSD. My name is Shanan Steere. I'm so excited to start 2022 interviews again and starting off with Kathleen Markham from ReeceNichols in Kansas City. Welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you. Thank you. Excited to be here.
We're going to have a great conversation today just about the evolution of your business, how you started, how you became an accidental agent, and then how you've built this amazing business from doing the basics at a really high level. So give us your background a little bit, Kathleen.
Corporate America. I lived in Kansas City my whole life, but corporate America for 35 years. In 2009, when the whole market fell apart, I knew I needed to get my license because we had to sell our house, and I wasn't willing to give up the 3% on the sell side. So I wasn't working, and I went and got my license, and I got the bug.
So did you go back to work at that point, or did you stay full-time real estate?
No, I had to go back to work. Nervous. No one was hiring. Insurance was a problem. So we were trying to sell the house and realized if I could just find a job in corporate America, anything, to have that insurance and that regular income, we could hang on barely. And we ended up selling the house about 3 years later. But I stayed in corporate America for several more years, working in real estate part-time. I would go to the office every day and then show nights and weekends. That's when clients really want to, people who are looking for a house have a job, so they're at their job all day. So nights and weekends really was where I started doing the real estate. It was great.
How many years were you part-time?
9 years part-time. I mean, my dad always said, never quit a perfectly good job. So I was struggling with, walking away from the regular income and insurance and benefits and all those things that come with that steady paycheck. And at some point I had to believe in me. And my broker here at ReeceNichols, Mike Frazier, said to me one day, when are you going to believe in you enough to take the leap? And so I did. And
so time out. How much business were you doing at the time accidentally?
About 4 to 5 million accidentally. I mean, it was accident. I would just talk to people, my close network, my circle of friends. I would do open houses, the things that you would do to try to pick up new buyers. It was not such a seller's market like it is today. It was more even market, which made it a little easier to pick up buyers and actually find them a house. So, I spent a lot of time just doing the traditional, open houses or Tuesday tours, learning about different areas, and then converted over and never looked back. And I won't name my company where I was at, but I run into people who are like, oh, hey, I see you're on Facebook and I see you're doing really well. And it's hard for me not to say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I waited so long. I can't believe it took so long to believe in me.
So when did you go full-time?
Full-time in 2020.
Okay. So you went from 4 to 5 million accidentally to full-time in 2020 doing how much?
About 10, just under 10 million, nine something.
Just under 10 million.
Taking instead of working 40 hours at another company, I started doing 40 hours of just me and real estate and figuring it out. What did it mean to, I had a friend once tell me, he said, I got my license, but I really can't do real estate full time because I don't think it's going to be 40 hours worth of work. Oh my gosh, it is 40 hours. I know, right? Because if you're working on the business and in the business, it takes time.
So you went to a really instrumental training class called Ninja.
Here at ReeceNichols, we started looking at different, everyone was doing something a little different. And then my brokerage got behind the Ninja plan, and they bring them in twice a year. And so I decided in 2020 to take that class. And here's what it did. You said the words earlier. I went from accidental success to purpose success, because not knowing that going to a Chiefs party on Sunday, and I was talking to a bunch of people and they would say, how's the market? What do you do? And how's the market? And then build a relationship that way. And they might call me in a year or 6 months, or because nothing's fast. It's not like you meet someone and they want to hire you tomorrow. So you have to always be out there talking to people. And I did that naturally at events and parties and family things. But Ninja taught me how to take it and make it a little more purposeful, and how to grow my database from just people that would be like on my Christmas card list and turn them into a full touch point purposeful. Like I take 10 people every week and I talk to 10 people every week in my database. So, and then I make notes, like so-and-so's kids are in college or whatever's happening. Because in this business, it's about life stages that mean when people are going to make that next step, either buying or selling. And it's not personal life stages. It could be their parents. It could be their kids. It could be a family member moving back to town. And staying in touch with your friends helps you understand when the opportunity is there. And when I say opportunity, it's not like you're ambulance chasing. You're really helping. You're a trusted resource. And so you have to kind of have a mind shift of, it's not running after the next lead. It's just being there when they're in need. So,
well, aren't we the financial advisors of their housing advice?
totally. Like most people's homes are greater assets than their 401k.
Right. Right. We have the potential of helping people invest and build more wealth than anybody else. And that's, I know that's where you come from. And what I just heard you say was you built a system for running your sphere.
Yes,
that's my sexy word. You know that as your coach. Yes. That's my sexy word. Like, woo, system. Tell us about the system.
I never called it a system before. It was just, it was I was working on my database, or I was mailing out a postcard, or I was, I don't know, posting on social media. But one of the things that when I came over full time and I started doing 10 million, I realized my brain, I'm more of the creative side. I'm less of the detailed side. Division of labor is really a good thing. And so I ended up hiring a transaction coordinator just per transaction, not a full-time, person in the office, but found someone who could really take MLS and the transactions and dotting the I's and take that over. Because when you're doing 10 million, it's not like I'm doing $1 million properties. So when an $80,000 property or $300,000 property takes the same amount of effort as a $1 million property. So, if you're doing 40 of those contracts and yet you're supposed to be out showing, and showing can take 10 minutes in a house, or some buyers want to stay 30 minutes in a house. And next thing you know, your day's eaten up just being out. So transaction coordinator was the best thing I ever did.
And then you systematized your transaction to close.
Absolutely. And it's not that I let go of it 100%. I check on it, a couple of times a week. I get in the loop and look to see where we are. And the transaction coordinator was great about communicating with me. Here's where we are this week. Here's what we did. A couple of times a week, she would give me an update, which was wonderful. And trust, I knew she knew what she was doing, so I could set it and forget it. And it helped me stay focused on building more processes, like figuring out a system to mail out postcards every month to our database with something of value. I had to figure out how to stay in touch that way. Ninja and lots of things, Buffini and all those companies say you have to stay in touch, like 30, 40 times with your sphere,
right?
Because people will say, oh, that's right, you are in real estate. You have to stay in front of them when they hear about the opportunity to refer you.
So all the time. So you and I met because you actually came to get the plan to learn about the 12-week year at the end.
Blew my mind.
The end of 2020. That's when you and I first met. It was like in October maybe, and I taught it live here in Kansas City, and your broker dragged you along by your hair and you were kicking your feet all the way into the classroom.
Yes. Yeah, I was. Because, it was just one of those things, like another training. What am I going to learn? But you spoke my language. One of the first things you said, you talked about the 12-week year. Sorry, my eyes are watering today. You talked about the 12-week year, and that 12-week year took everything I knew from corporate America. Because in corporate America, you build the plan for the year, and then this is your goal. And I lived it 30 years. We would all wait until you don't purposefully wait, but subconsciously, you have all year to get it done. And so you will start building blocks. But at the end, October, November, December, it's the mad rush to finish when you had all year to do it. And so when we started talking about how to break that down into 12-week segments, what do you want to accomplish this 12 weeks? And the words you said, every day is a week. So if you waste a day, you wasted a week. And these things you're absolutely right. I mean, take a day off if you need a day off, but know that you're kind of killing a week in the time of a 12-week year. So keep the pressure on, do something every day to grow your business. I hired you in 2021. I think 2020 December was when we had our first chat. And I was on vacation in Florida, and my brother, I got off the call with you, our very first consult. And I came out, I'm like, I've got so much to do, David. And he started laughing, he goes, you're on vacation. I'm like, no, I'm not anymore.
I didn't mean to ruin your vacation. And by the way, this is not a commercial to hire me as a coach.
Oh, no.
This is all about telling a story of someone who came out of corporate America, who accidentally sold 4 to 5 million, who then started getting serious about building a business. And then, so in 2021, you went from what volume to what volume?
So I was doing 5 or 6, went up to 10, went up to 14. And then when I hired you, went to 25. And it's not about hiring you, but what you kind of had me reconsider in my brain are a lot of things that I'd heard before, but you told me about the importance, like Google reviews. I mean, I've been doing this since 2009. I had 4 Google reviews. 4. 2009, 4. So I work on it every day now. You know,
what's happened to your Google leads since you've been working on it?
Oh, you know what? A couple weeks ago, I had somebody call me out of the blue, and she said, we're going to be selling our house. We'd like to interview you to be our agent. And I was too embarrassed to say, how did you find me? Because I thought, did I meet her at a party? So I went over, and first of all, I Facebook stalked her, still didn't know her, went over, gave the pitch. And I asked her, how'd you find me? And she said, I Googled top real estate agents in Leawood. My jaw hit the ground. I couldn't wait to come tell you, because it's exactly what you've been telling me I needed to do. And I just hadn't had the positive reinforcement yet of that. But now it's like, it's crazy. I did hire my first W-2 this year, and I looked at her and I said, the number one chore you have is to get me every client review. Like that, it's got to be a priority.
Because, so just so you guys know what we're talking about, and we've done classes on Google My Business on GSD before, and we do have a webinar on it. It's about building it organically, because we don't spend money on Google. My team made $164,000 last year in GCI without 1 penny spent. And we've already got 2 closings on the books this year, Kathleen, from Google My Business. If people, I told you this story, I think last night when I saw you at our event, was this little girl said, yeah, my mom told me to call you. She knows you. I go up and I go, hey, so how do I know your mom again? She goes, oh, you don't. She found you on Google. She just really liked your profile and liked all your reviews. And she told me to hire you. And I'm like, you can't get better press than that. It was 48 minutes, walked in, came out with a listing agreement, signs in the yard, done.
Yeah.
No referral fee.
It's beautiful.
And yet agents still do not slow down to build the system. So let's talk about some of the systems that you put in place this year to go from 14 to 25.
Well, let's see. Well, first of all,
We've built a lot.
Huh?
We've built a lot.
Yeah, we have. I mean, hiring my first full-time admin is really a huge, scary step. But again, I had some wins last year. So if I'm not taking some of that money and investing it back in the business, then I'm not winning. And I know that if I want to take it from 25 to 40, which is the goal we set, I've got to have somebody else sitting here doing a lot of that, sending out the Google reviews after every close. So just emails that's just a turnkey email system that goes out after every close on clients is key. Hiring someone for social media who does nothing but, like, we do Trend Tuesday. It's not all about us in real estate. It's trends, it's colors, it's vendors that we would recommend. Hey, it's spring. We're getting to clean out your gut, or fall, you're cleaning out your gutters. And time stuff.
How much can you, and we're not going to say her name, how much can you hire someone like that for a month? Because I'm sure people listening to this right now are like, I can't afford that. How much does a social media marketing person cost you a month to handle all the fun stuff?
So she'll do 3 to 4 posts a week, and sometimes 5, depending if we just keep feeding her, content. $400 a month. So $100 a week. So $20 a post. And they're great. And then she gives me the analytics on it. If there's somebody asking me a question, she'll pop over a note to me to say, hey, there's a question on one of our recent posts, go in and answer it. It's just a great resource. Again, I don't have to have my eye on it. If you hire well, somebody's over there representing you, managing your business, keeping you, focused on going out and building more leads.
So I want to go back to the 12-week year, because we pretty much took your blinders and put them on.
Yep.
3.5 12-week years this year.
Yep.
And one 12-week year, I tell your story all the time when I teach GTP, is that your one goal was to send out all unsolicited CMAs to your entire database, which was 600 people.
Yep.
And you took 12 listings in that 12 weeks.
Yes, I did. Yes. Some from that, some from other things. But if you aren't reaching out and doing so I hired a college student over the Christmas break. Mm-hmm. And she came in and she did a 365 CMA review, so real estate review. And for every one of my people in my database, printed it, made it in a booklet, mailed it out. It might have $300-400 in stamps, some time for her to do it. But the number of people who call, so you get people who call and say, my house is worth what? You get people who call and say, I'm not wanting to buy or sell right now, but I have a question about how I should invest in my house to make sure I gain the most, right? So should I do that LTV, which I hear all the time. I'm sure you do too. I want to update my floor. Should I do LTV? Not unless your house is worth less than 300.
Right.
And only in the lower level, but giving them advice. Now they're looking at you like truly the home consultant we all need to be for them on a 365 basis. And when they're ready, they'll call you.
So unsolicited CMAs, you're really seeking 4 points of information, I think. One is, here's what your house is worth and here's how much value you have. And is it time to refi? With rates going up, think about some of the FHA loans out there that you could possibly get out of PMI and save them money, right? The second point is it time for us to do a project on our house? And you definitely want to let them know how much equity they have in case they want to do a kitchen remodel or whatever. And then you're the advisor saying, yes, that's a good investment, or no, that's not, just like the flooring. Third one is it time to buy an investment property, right? They have so much equity, they can pull it out and go buy an investment property. You're buying an investment property right now, right? Is it time to do that? Or number 4, is it time to move? Yes. So by doing an unsolicited CMA, you're just clinching the fact that you are their home advisor. And when you come from a place of, maybe it's time to do one of these 4 things, it gets them thinking about, gosh, I could go get free money basically and update my house.
And if you position the CMA as that, this, just like your financial advisor who you go meet with annually about your investments. Yep. I want to be your home advisor. Yes. And you can lay those bullets out, because in my cover letter, I do talk about how interest rates are going up. I don't necessarily, and that's a good point, I didn't necessarily say it might be time to refi, but as the rates go up, the market will change a little bit. And I did talk about the investment property that I'm buying this year for the first time. If they have questions, they should reach out. So it's just again, I love it because you're just being helpful. You're not chasing.
No.
I mean, who wouldn't want to talk about, rates or investment properties or Airbnbs? Like, are those the rage or are they over? That kind of thing. So yeah, it's just having conversations, but processes help me free myself up to go have those conversations, to not feel so stressed that I have to sit here at my desk versus, be out and show and make money.
So let's talk about how you lead generate, because I think you have a fascinating story. You do a lot of social stuff. Like your sphere cooks you some deals, right? Like you have your mailings, you've got your unsolicited CMAs, you've got touches going out to your sphere, and you do an on-purpose job of hitting happy hours with separate friends and doing dinners with different people. And I mean, you're very on purpose socially.
Yeah. So one of the things that when you talk about the 12-week year, every week I want to have, what tasks am I going to do to drive context next week? So I have Christy's on my teams, Christy and I. And one of the things I say is next week I want 2 coffees and 2 lunches. Well, I can't wait till Monday to say, do you want to have coffee this week? So this week I say, what are you doing next week? Is there a good day for coffee, or we should get together for lunch? I try to keep evenings free. But that's not necessarily for the diet reason. I don't want to be out every night. But coffee and lunch. Coffee, lunch, coffee is what I call it. And truly, so I challenge anybody watching this video, go to a coffee shop to meet someone, go 10 minutes early, see who you see, because you'll run into, if it's in your sphere, like don't go clear across the city where you never go. But I always run into people when I go have coffee that I haven't seen for eons. And I make a little note, mental note, that when I get back to the office, I'm adding them to my CMA. They're not even in my CMA. Why are they not? Not CMA, circle, my COI. Yep. That's how you grow it. But then you made a connection. You can drop them a note, look them up in internet, find an address for them, drop them a note saying how much fun it was to see them. And now you've reconnected with somebody. It's just, and that takes time. So there's an hour out of your day, but you met one or two new people.
Time out though. What you're doing is you're building relationships consistently. Yes. So this is one of the big things I think that agents don't do well is they're not consistent about building, right? They do one thing, then they do another thing, and that didn't work. And then I'm going to go try this thing, and then that didn't work. And then I'm going to go try this thing where you've done same thing. Like we literally have put blinders on you like this and said, you don't get to do anything else except for this for 12 weeks.
And to that point, it's about, like, if there are 20 things you could go do to grow your business, but you're never going to be able to do them all well. So how do you figure out, like, if open houses are your thing, then do them every week. Mm-hmm. If you do open houses and have never picked up a buyer, stop. Find something else, right?
I think it's a lot too about behavior. So when people come to me and say, well, how should I lead generate? Mm-hmm. I always say, what's your disc? Yeah. Because I can tell you based on your disc, because that's kind of what you and I've done, right? Like we've looked at your behavior and go, okay, here's where you're going to do really well because you're driven in your social. And then we put in the building blocks to get all the other lead sources. So let's talk about some of the other lead sources, because I love talking about Ojo because of my dear friend Chris Heller. Yep. And what kind of lead did you convert from them?
I think we started with them in the spring of 2021 and 7 leads. Lots of leads. A lot of those sources give you lots of leads. But we have, sorry, I was just looking at my desk is falling apart. We had 7 closings last year, which is phenomenal. I think the average price point is around 2.25, which is great. And you don't pay for all those leads until you close the deal, which is beauty, right? Not to discriminate against the ones that make you buy a bunch of pay up front and you don't know if you're going to close anything.
Right.
But this is, you just work the leads until you find them a house until they're ready to buy.
And you found out about Ojo through GSD, which is
you gave me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will tell you guys, if you have bigger goals than how big your sphere is, and you're already getting a 10-to-1 ratio from your sphere, you have to add other lead sources. And that's one of the things that Kathleen's done very effectively this year is she built a system for follow-up on Ojos, and you're building your Google My Business leads. And so now all of a sudden you're getting leads from other places that you never had before and a system to back it and follow it.
Yes, exactly. I mean, if you, with all the leads coming in, if let's say you get 10 potential leads a week, you can't follow up with all of them. You have to put them into some kind of touch point tool so that they are constantly getting subtly reminded, I'm still out here. Someone will get an email from me that says, I know I've been sending you a couple of emails. I don't want to bother you. I just hope that you're, when you're ready to make the next step, I'm here for you. If you have any questions, I'm always here. And you'll get a response from them. They'll say, I'm so sorry I haven't been responding. And you'll look at that and say, who is this person again? I got to go look them up in the tool because they're in an automatic system. I don't have the right word, just an email touch point system that can I say what it is?
Yeah, please.
Follow up boss.
Yeah, follow up boss.
Follow up boss. So you just put them in there, set it and forget it. You put them in a campaign and they get dripped on based on how you found them and what their needs were. If they'll tell you through the Ojo lead, what they're looking for the next 3 months or 6 to 12 months, and you can put them in a campaign based on that.
Yep. And I will tell you that we have a partnership with a gentleman through Follow Up Boss, who's a contractor. And if you have any interest in some of these follow-up systems, we do have pricing for that. It's a $1,200 setup fee, one-time setup fee on your Follow-Up Boss. Follow-Up Boss is only $69 a month. So it's super affordable. And I mean, last year, I think it ended up closing us 10 deals on the backside where they kept getting the emails and then they would call us and go, wow, you guys are so good at follow-up. And we had no idea who they were. One of them was an $800,000 listing.
That's awesome. It's just that efficiency where if you put it in place, it takes a little time to put it in place. But once you do, you can stop thinking about it, knowing that it's working on its own. You know,
How many
just
months
like
did I have? How many months did I have to harp on you to finally get that system in place?
Next question.
By the way, this is common, right? When a coach says, hey, do this, and you just keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. I did that with building a closed Facebook group. I mean, I put my coach off for 9 months and finally I did it. It's the best thing one of the best systems I've ever built.
Yes.
Because now it's just a freaking machine, you know.
And 4 years we did our closed Facebook group too. And I'm surprised at the camaraderie and the interaction in that. Yeah. You know, if you want to find out, I know you're doing a rave event tonight, your raving fan event, but one of the things we have our calendar this year. And one of the things we're going to do is the pop-up happy hours in that group. And I'm really looking forward to that. But again, this is like hiring your social media person, tell her what the content is. She does it. It's on my calendar, you know, and it's just, it all starts working together. So that's working on the business and in the business. You gotta give both.
So that is the one annual plan that we do, right? Is we do our social plan for the year so that we can plan ahead events and movie premieres and all of that. And you like took our template and said, okay, I'm going to do it. Like here's January, here's February, here's March. And then it just takes all the weight off of you. And then you can also go to vendors early in the year and go, hey, I want sponsorship before they spend all their money.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we get a lot of our stuff sponsored. I mean, you've got to have strategic partners so that they help you with these things because you're giving them a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah. Like your lender. I mean, you know, if you do every deal with them or, you know, you probably have 2 lenders, but you figure out who, you know, one of the things you said last year was record who your people close with and who your people use as lending. And then you go back and say, I gave you 14 deals or 37 deals last year. What are you going to do? Yeah.
Same thing with home warranties. We use one home warranty company. They sponsor our drawing every month. You know,
I mean, my dollars go farther, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
If I don't have to spend $300 on a happy hour because Casey Title picks it up or because, you know, one of my lenders picks it up. So yeah, it's good.
So your goal is to go from 25 to 40 this year.
Yes.
And you guys run lean and mean. You're only going to have 3 people selling.
I know.
It makes you really profitable, which makes me really happy. Your P&L is going to be really big and fat. You know, and then you'll be able to buy more rental properties this year.
I'm so excited about that rental property. Scared, but you know, I think it'll be fine.
We're going in. We're all going in.
Lean and mean is it. You know, I do think lean and mean is the way to go because you can have a lot of distractions on your team if you get too many agents. When I first came over full time, that's one of the things I did. I went from myself and one other person to 8. And it became so distracting every day coming into the office. Because like half of them are brand new agents. And, you know, it's like little 2-year-olds running around trying to get them all to do something to grow the business.
So how many people did you start with when I started coaching with you?
8.
How many do you have now?
Well, there's 2 of us and somebody's coming on in April. Yeah. Yeah.
So part of that is having the right people, the right behavior, and the right positions.
Yes.
And you did a great job of being coachable during that and going, okay, they're not really helping me. They're distracting me and slowing me down and putting anchors on me versus letting me fly. Yeah. And then once you got the anchors gone, and by the way, it wasn't good for them either, right? Like it just wasn't good for anybody.
They weren't, you know, different people left for different reasons. But you know, if you join a team and you realize you don't want to be a team member, then you got to go do it on your own. And I have one person who's going to go do great on her own. I have another person who has grandbabies that she's just distracted. And she just decided, you know, she was going to do something else. Yeah, it's not bad. It's you know, and I had another person who wanted to just flip. That's great. Go do that. But getting the people on the team that believe in the 12-week year and want to execute the 12-week year and are on board with the tasks that it takes to drive consistent business, you know, I think that's what I was looking for. So
what advice would you give a brand new agent watching this video today?
I would say, number one, figure out what you like to do to grow business. Is it coffee, lunch, coffee? Is it open houses? Is it cold calling? Whatever it is that you want to do to grow, that you feel comfortable doing to grow your business, commit. Don't be interested in it, commit to it. And kind of that committed, interested is you can be interested in real estate, like going and seeing homes, but you have to be committed, which means, you know, I'm in the office every day at 8 a.m. I try
wait. Before I start coaching you, when did you start your day?
Maybe 10. I mean, I would get online at home, but you know, and if you do work from home, make sure you have a space that's 100% dedicated, like a door closed, you're working. You're not, TV is not in the background, the radio's not on, like it is work. There's no music in my office. I come in and I work. So yes, be committed, get into the office, do your work. Take a 2-hour lunch, schedule your workout period. Ninja talks about, and I think, you know, the 12-week year kind of gives you that framework too. You really have to plan your day every day. Otherwise the day will slip away from you. It will slip, like next thing you know, it's 5 o'clock or 3 o'clock and you're cutting out.
If you don't plan your day will be planned by others.
Oh, 100%.
Okay. So what advice would you give somebody thinking about going from part-time to full-time?
Believe in you. Do it.
And apply yourself 40 hours a week.
Yeah, Mahomes said last Sunday, Kelsey, do it, Kelsey, do it. If anybody watched the Chiefs game.
Oh yeah, of course. Not everybody on here is Chiefs fans. Some of them might be Bills fans. Or who are we playing this week? I don't even remember. Yeah, those people.
Yeah.
And then what advice would you give somebody building a team?
Go slow. Do the disc profile and go slow. It's a huge distraction to bring somebody on. Like right now, I love my new director of operations, but it's a distraction for me every day. Just getting her logins, getting her up and running is a distraction from spring market. So I'm probably working a little overtime right now, trying to get it all, because I don't want to miss anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you very much for being on here today. You're very inspirational. I tell your stories all the time, how you've gone from 14 to 25 in 1 year by firing people.
Yes.
And doing a 12-week year and being committed to unsolicited CMAs and building systems and building blocks. And now we have a full-time admin. And now this year you're going to kick some serious ass.
Just don't let distractions take you away, because if you just put the systems in place and do the work, it will happen. I'm 100%.
Oh, yeah, it'll totally happen. Well, thank you, Kathleen Markham. If you guys want to reach out to her, give referrals. She's in the Kansas City market, and we will talk to you all soon. Have a great day.